What's up guys, welcome to a new YouTube video. In this one, I want to keep it raw and real with you guys. I want to shed light on one of the biggest lessons, or more so biggest realizations I've had when it comes to entrepreneurship and the process of entrepreneurship, and more specifically the process of continuously moving the needle forward in entrepreneurship. And this is potentially for any of you who are considering getting into business, or perhaps those of you who are already in business. This could provide some useful context for you perhaps, and anywhere in between. The idea is that you're gonna have to do a lot of work when you don't want to. And before you exit out of the video for hearing a phrase that you've probably heard 1,000 times, I wanna go a little bit deeper into the extent that you'll actually have to do that. Because when you hear the saying or the slogan or the term, doing work when you don't feel like it, you kind of just like shrug it off. But in entrepreneurship, it's much more painful than it sounds in many instances, because doing things when you don't feel like it, the don't feel like it part of that can get very nasty. There could be many different things that leads to the don't feel like it part of that sentence. First of all, entrepreneurship is one of the most potent self-development vehicles that exist. So as a result, from starting at point A and working towards a point B, your ideal, maybe $1 million company, maybe $1 billion company, whatever it is, you're gonna have to pretty much rip yourself apart, tear yourself down, all so you can build yourself back up. Because very rarely do we enter into entrepreneurship as a version of ourselves that's actually primed and ready for it. The exception to that might be a person who was raised in a family of entrepreneurs and has watched them execute and succeed and has directly learned lessons from them along the way. They might be a little bit more prepared. But for your average person entering into entrepreneurship, there's going to be a handful of inner limiting beliefs, childhood trauma of different kinds. There's going to be limiting emotional patterns, limiting psychological patterns, and all of these will completely get exposed the further and further you get into the game. Now again, some people's inner environment is a little bit more optimized to head into the entrepreneurship game compared to person B, but we're still gonna have all of our own demons to face. And again, the thing about entrepreneurship is it's one of the most potent self-development vehicles because it exposes those demons, puts them in a spotlight over and over again until you either quit or you face them and evolve. A lot of entrepreneurs quit because they cannot tolerate the amount of pain that entrepreneurship actually generates within them. But what they don't realize is that pain is part of the growth if you use it as growth. That pain is showing you what to develop about yourself. That pain is showing you what limiting patterns or limiting emotions or limiting beliefs reside within you. And it's up to you, again, whether you evolve or you quit. So looping back to the first thing I said about this video, you're gonna have to do a lot of things when you're experiencing those gut-wrenching limiting patterns, limiting beliefs, limiting emotions. You're gonna have to execute when you're flooded with limiting emotions like anxiety or overwhelm or stress or discouragement or a combination. You're gonna have to learn to execute when you're experiencing problems in other areas of your life, whether it is health problems or personal problems or family problems or financial problems. And you might have to execute when you're experiencing all these disempowering emotions on the inside related to entrepreneurship while there's a personal issue going on, or even two. And this is not easy. This is the type of shit that breaks you down, that tears you apart, that rips you wide open. And again, you have a choice. You quit, or you say, you know what, I'm gonna get stronger on the other side of this. Because another very overused and common quote is, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. This is absolutely true. Every rep you take, you build thicker skin. Every time you execute when you don't feel like it, every time you make that call, even though you feel overwhelmed, every time you do 1 to 2 to 3 hours of deep work, even though you feel extreme discouragement, every time you follow through on your business commitments, even though you have a personal thing and a family problem over there, that builds thicker skin, it builds skill, it builds your capacity to execute. You know, I'm 4.5 years into my entrepreneurship journey. I started my business in October 2019. It's currently February of 2024. For the first 4 years of my business, I had many limiting beliefs, limiting emotional patterns, limiting thoughts, and I let all of this pretty much dictate my execution. If I was in a limiting emotional pattern, I wouldn't really do any work. And I barely got any results because of it. But in 2023, I dealt with a very profound inner emotional kind of healing journey that was extremely painful. I made some videos about it on my channel. Look at summer 2023, and there'll be a video or two there on my Instagram as well. But since then, I've started doing very intentional work around those emotions to heal from the inside, to actually address the limiting thought patterns, the limiting beliefs, the limiting emotional patterns, and to start to change myself, to start to change those emotional patterns, to start to change those thought patterns, those beliefs about myself. As you gain awareness around them, you enable yourself to change them. But that is a slow, kind of painful process, at least in my experience. And oftentimes when you start to really air that stuff out, it can be even more painful than it was when you were unaware, because now it's just flooding through your body. You're releasing suppressed emotion that you haven't experienced in a while or ever. And it's a lot of pain, it's a lot of stuff going on in your body, and it can be very hard to execute. So that's when you have to execute even though your body is flooded with disempowering emotions. And that's just the context of my situation. Everyone will have their own little context of their inner shit that they're dealing with and learning how to execute. And the punchline of this video is it's not easy. It's gut-wrenching. But it develops you faster than you could have ever imagined. And it's the thing that will allow you to get to where you want to be. Because I know that the difference between a lot of entrepreneurs that succeed versus those who don't is those who succeed do what's required no matter how they feel. They run the play despite any disempowering emotions or beliefs that are present. This is easier said than done. That's why so few entrepreneurs actually are moving forward and are succeeding. I've noticed the biggest difference between the results I've created versus when I haven't is when I simply executed independent of my emotional state. And one thing that's helped me kind of internalize this is a lot of the guys who I look up to, who are successful entrepreneurs that have personal brands, etc., they're talking about the fact that those hard times, those gut-wrenching times are normal. It's part of the game. It's what you sign up for. And when we label them as bad or different, or we shouldn't be experiencing this, we're labeling the quality of our life as bad when it really isn't. It just is. It's just part of the game. And so that kind of helped as well, where it's like those tough times, those gut-wrenching times, they're supposed to happen. It's what you sign up for. It's what makes this whole game worthwhile. If it were easy, if it were smooth sailing, everyone would do it and it wouldn't be worthwhile. It wouldn't be notable. So of course there's gonna be a big price to pay for becoming the version you want to become and creating the life and business you want to create. I'm still early in my journey, but this is a massive lesson I learned as of recent that I'm gonna continue to take into the next chapters of my journey as I continue to face more pain, more growth. I know it'll be super valuable. So I hope it was at least a little bit valuable for you or gave you a little bit to chew on regarding your own journey. I'd love to hear if you guys have any takeaways, throw them down in the comment section, or any questions about this or any future video ideas, feel free to toss them down there. And without further ado, see you in the next video.